In my opinion, there are enough fantasy analysts out there telling you to go out and acquire Josh Allen and Javonte Williams and Jamar Chase and these really big name guys that you want on your team. But I think it's really important to try to find the guys that you can get for cheap that are really going to help anchor your dynasty rosters. And that's what we're going to look at today. 3 guys that I think are fantastic values right now that you don't have to pay up to acquire. I'm Dave Kluge with Footballguys, and I'm here to help you win your league. If you haven't already subscribed to the YouTube channel, be sure to do that at youtube.com/footballguys. Not only are we bringing you these short videos all off season long, you can also watch all of our full-length shows, including the Audible. Now let's go ahead and dive right in. Evan Engram. I know. Evan Engram has burned fantasy managers non-stop since his historic rookie season, and I can understand why a lot of people are kind of trepidatious when it comes to going out and acquiring him in Dynasty. But now at 27 years old, he gets to play outside of New York for the first time in his career. The Jaguars went wild in free agency this offseason so far. They brought in Christian Kirk, Zay Jones, and Evan Engram to serve as some new weapons for second-year quarterback Trevor Lawrence. And what intrigues me about Evan Engram isn't really the change of scenery or the new quarterback as much as his new head coach. Doug Peterson loves his tight ends. During his stint as the Eagles head coach, Doug Peterson ran more 2 tight end sets than any other coach in the league. Whether it was Zach Ertz, Trey Burton, Dallas Goedert, or even Richard Rodgers, Peterson placed a heavy emphasis on running the passing game through his tight ends. And while Dan Arnold is no scrub on his own, I expect Evan Engram to be the primary guy here just because of a better pedigree and better production this far up in their respective careers. Now, in 2020, Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert both missed time due to an injury, but when they were both fully healthy in 2019, they combined for 222 targets, despite each missing a game, and they finished respectively as the tight end 4 and tight end 10 in PPR leagues. Now, I don't know if Dan Arnold and Evan Engram are going to be able to finish that high, but I'm guessing that there are going to be a lot of targets going to tight ends, and I'm putting my chips on Evan Engram. Right now on Keep Trade Cut, which crowdsources all of their dynasty rankings, Evan Engram is ranked as the tight end 20. They're saying that his value is about equal to that of an early 3rd round pick. I would swap out a 3rd round pick in a heartbeat for Evan Engram. And there's some guys ranked ahead of him that I'd prefer as well. Right now, Brevin Jordan, Hunter Henry, Zach Ertz, David Njoku, and Irv Smith Jr. are all ranked ahead of Evan Engram, and I would prefer him over each of them. On to the next guy I want to talk about here, and this is Damien Harris. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, this should be no surprise to you whatsoever. I was a huge advocate for Damien Harris last season, and what he lacks in pass catching ability, he easily makes up for in touchdown equity. I know that touchdowns aren't typically sticky from year to year, and they're really tough to rely on, but Bill Belichick operates a little bit differently than most coaches. Each running back in New England is very specialized in what they do, and on top of early down carries, Damien Harris is responsible for all of the goal line work. Throughout the entire league, only Jonathan Taylor saw more work inside the 10-yard line last year than Damien Harris did. Damien Harris converted 11 of his 30 touches inside the 10-yard line into touchdowns and regularly showed his ability to break tackles just about anywhere on the field, as we saw against the Bills when he ripped off that huge touchdown. Last year, he was rated as PFF's best rusher in the league. At just 25 years old, he's got 1 year left on his contract in New England before he is expected to hit free agency. Now, it's likely that he hits free agency at 26 years old, and the team will turn their focus to Ramondre Stevenson, who is on a much cheaper rookie deal. When acquiring Damien Harris, you're getting somebody who's got an RB2 floor for 2022, and as we saw last year, RB1 upside in New England. The ceiling that is imaginable when he hits free agency and could get paid to be a featured back is what really excites me about Damien Harris, though. Right now, he is ranked as the RB33 overall, considering he just finished as the RB8 in standard leagues and the RB14 in PPR leagues. I don't understand why he's ranked so low as a 25-year-old back who has showed immense amounts of talent. I would go out and get him for what he's ranked at right now, which is a mid-second without even thinking twice about that. And if he can just maintain his pace next year, even if he sees a dip in touchdowns, he will still provide an RB2 floor. That brings me to the last guy that I want to talk about, and we're going to discuss a quarterback here, and I'm talking about Jameis Winston. Despite being the first overall pick and leading the league in passing yards the last time he was a starter, and getting another contract with New Orleans, for whatever reason, the Dynasty community is still off on Jameis Winston. He is ranked as the QB 27 right now. He's 28 years old, and he is still pretty young for a quarterback at 28. He's still got a lot of years ahead of him. Now, I started this off by highlighting his yardage from 2019 while purposely omitting his interceptions. But he seemed to have turned a leaf after sitting behind Drew Brees for the 2020 season. Last season, we only saw him play in 6 full games. However, he posted a career-high touchdown rate and a career-low interception rate through that small sample size. He showed his big arm that we all know and love, and he connected on 3 touchdowns of more than 50 yards last year. Now, he doesn't have the luxury of playing with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin anymore, but his supporting cast in New Orleans is pretty good. Michael Thomas is expected back. Marquez Callaway showed some great flashes last season and has a very promising profile. Traquan Smith just had his most efficient season. And then there's, of course, Mr. Reliable in the checkdown game, Alvin Kamara, who is going to rack up yak yards and make him look much better than, what he's doing just by checking down to him. Jameis Winston is probably not going to pass for 5,000 yards in New Orleans, but he still makes for a pretty solid QB2 with immense upside and should have plenty of promising years ahead of him. I'm much more bullish on Winston than the consensus is, but I'd be willing to part with a 2024 first-round pick for him. If we're looking at 2022 and 2023 picks, I'd give up an early second for him. Right now, he's ranked behind guys like Davis Mills, Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins, and I just can't wrap my mind around that, knowing the age, pedigree, and contract that Jameis Winston currently has. You don't have to give up a lot to acquire him, and he is an easy plug-and-play as your QB2. I've got a lot of other guys that I think are great values right now, so follow me on Twitter at Dave Kluge. I'm constantly tweeting about guys that I think you should go out and get, and I will catch you next week. Thank you for tuning in.